This is the Silt versus A God Must Feed Part 2. We have one active assignment right now, the Hungering Roots. There are 3 questions associated with that assignment, all of which, if answered, give you different ways of resolving the assignment. You've currently found 2 clues on this particular assignment towards answering those questions. You also have a verse available here called the Verse of the Inevitable Harvest, which you have access to if you need to bump up a die roll. Taking a look at the Custodians, everyone's in pretty decent shape. Sedna has a condition called Marked by Taj Siddiqui, who is our errand runner. And Jasper is marked by Pickles. More to learn about in a moment. If you haven't done so already, you can go ahead and change your end of session questions or leave them the same as you wish. For people who are watching the video who don't know, the end of session questions are how we get experience points in this game. And so whatever you change your questions to, you should change it to something that you think you might reasonably be able to role play or accomplish in the session. You want to be able to answer yes by the end of the session. Do we have any moves that fire off at the beginning of the session? Okay. Then in that case, I will go ahead and introduce a second assignment. The Custodians always have assignments coming in, or they're aware of them. And so you now have a new one. In addition to the Hungering Roots, your new assignment is the Dusk Mother. You can follow along on the tab if you wish. The Custodians are informed of a series of disturbances near the rural town of Weft, located just on the border of the Clutching Woods. Reports of strange attacks on livestock and damage to power lines and vehicles have been documented. Hopworth Industries, a nearby meatpacking plant, claims that some kind of large predator has been raiding their compound at night. Law enforcement records show evidence of a stray angel making its haunt on the grounds of Skelton Ranch, though no conclusive action was taken, and local residents have not been forthcoming with previous investigators. And here I might pause to say that in the setting, we have gods, saints, and angels. We talked about saints last time. Angels are often just animals, essentially, animals that are maybe conscious of a god and serve that god, maybe not, but that's frequently what angels are. So the Skelton family, thought to have abandoned production on their farm years ago, is rumored to harbor an angel which has caused trouble for other residents in the past. According to locals, the Skelton family simply referred to the entity as Mother. It is unclear what their relationship is with the angel, but it has been known to haunt the woods around their property for several generations as part of some sort of pact. Attempts to reach the Skeltons directly were unsuccessful, so the Custodians have been directed to contain or eliminate the angel before its territory encroaches on any nearby counties. I'm going to direct the following to Theo. Theo, you have heard of family gods and angels before and how their influence keeps its hold over generations. What rumors of the Skelton family makes you suspect that this angel has dug its claws in too deep?
I think there is just this local saying. You always know you're seeing a skeleton by the way that the wings are at the edges of their eyes, as the irises around, instead of it being like a normal color, there is like stripes of white surrounding them.
Oh, interesting. Very good. You have one question to start here. Where is the angel's nest located? It's a fairly easy question at complexity 2. And if you answer it, you unlock the remaining questions. And so, as a sort of order of operations thing here, you all have the ability to leave the Hungering Roots assignment, or some of you, if you wish, and travel to Weft to look into this matter, or not. You can all just stay at the Hungering Roots as well. But in any case, any assignment that's left unattended for too long could get worse. The problem could get worse, and that could have bad implications. And so let's continue on. With Theo and Pele, you have managed to get access to the plant. Leo Mescal, is showing you around, pointing things out. I'm going to give you the lay of the land really quick so you can kind of make some decisions about where you want to go, what you want to look at. There is a compost heap outside of the warehouse itself. Inside the warehouse, there is the growing room and the processing area. And there might be other things to discover as well, but that's sort of where we're at the start here. I don't remember precisely what we were doing last time, but I'll just pick up here again. Pele and Theo, what do you want to do?
It seems as though these people have gotten a little bit too close to their god.
You see Pele squint their eyes real quick and go, indeed, it seems that they have some kind of attachment with it.
I want to see this growing room.
I believe so. You check out the growing room and I think I'll see what's in the bags.
What does that mean?
Just turns and probably points over to an area where there's a bunch of like bags of like, just like, like grain or whatever, like, harvest and just collect and everything. What's in the bags, Theo? Are they actually shipping what they think they're supposed to be shipping, or is there something else?
Probably seeds. Ew.
Yes. Seeds, grains, oats.
Not cereal.
Could be cereal.
It's not cereal. Pele, do not make this into cereal, please.
Whatever you say, Theo. You're the lead on this operation, in my opinion.
Let's talk about the growing room, which is where Theo was headed, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Leo takes you in there, and he's kind of pointing some things out. You see potted shrubs and flowering vines carpeting the floor, tables and shelves, and a wall-to-wall explosion of greenery. Dazzling overhead bulbs rigged to a chaotic web of repurposed wiring and electronics bathe the room in artificial sunlight, while rotating fans give the impression of a gentle breeze. Let's paint the scene, everyone. How does this space invoke a sense of euphoria and timelessness?
I think in this room, because it's a sort of indoor growing area, instead of dirt, there's sand everywhere, but it doesn't appear that there's any footprints in the sand. And I think we see like rakes to like maintain this perfection.
There is a set of lockers, but they're not like metal lockers, like school lockers or anything, or lockers that you'd see at a workplace. They're just, like wooden cubbies with doors on them, so that they could fit in any time period whatsoever. They wouldn't look out of place.
The lattice work of wires and electronics that are connected to the dazzling bulbs overhead, actually more of like a multi-layered kind of netting of them. So like some of the lighting from above casts the shadows of various other wires beneath them, kind of giving this still frame light in the room resembling that of like water reflecting off of a pool, just not in motion. And the assemblage of different pieces of reclaimed technology and furniture from many different eras to just kind of make this place look like a hodgepodge of not one time period, in this lighting kind of makes it feel dreamlike.
The room smells of growing things. It smells of new plants and new growth, and it has that effect of nostalgia, bringing you back to your childhood, to when you were rolling around in the grass during spring, picking flowers and climbing trees.
Nice. Pele, I think that you have ended up over in a sort of what's essentially another like kind of smaller part of the interior of the warehouse, which there's several things going on there, but generally speaking, we're going to call it the processing area. It's dimly lit, windowless, cluttered with sorting tables, withering troughs, mechanical roller, drying rack, sifting mesh, and packaging materials, as well as packaged up tea. Clearly, the owners of this warehouse were gearing up for a wider distribution of their product before they have lost control. Let's paint the scene. What unusual claims does the producer make about the properties of this tea on their packaging?
I'm just gonna call out the popular brand drink Celsius here. Um, uh, Contributes to burning fat, just in big letters.
It says on the package, brewed with crystal clean water.
The packaging itself is sort of designed in a way that's pretty unoffensive to the eyes. It's very neutral pastel colors like purples and browns and greens, sort of an earthy sort of feel to it.
There is a little bit of text on there that describes it as a blessed blend, a mix of herbals and spices, sure to rival even the most potent of the Grinding Lord's beans.
Very good, very good. We'll come back to these scenes in a moment. Pickles has whispered to you, Jasper, it's time for you to exit stage left.
I think Jasper feels a cold shiver down his spine and will very cautiously glance over his shoulder to turn and look at the source of the voice, at Pickles, and see and look at it directly.
It speaks. It's time for you to exit stage left because your performance was a little subpar, in my opinion.
Jasper kind of like blinks. There is an unreadable expression on his face, and he does not respond with words. I will explain what this means. Well, there's like a ripple of some kind of strange expression across his face, like 100 different things at once, before it's like, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, so I'm just gonna like say, for anyone who's seen Moon Knight, when like Mark disassociates or like, and then like kind of like changes personality slightly and just kind of ignores the periphery around him. He just kind of does that, and he wants to shift and go about his business. My explanation for this is that Jasper never, ever breaks character, breaks a performance. And in the real world, there is no backstage. There are no wings. You do not deliver your lines on stage that are not in the script. And in this moment is something telling me that I need to exit the stage during my performance, because all the world is a performance. I will not perceive this. I am ignoring this because I'm going to go about my day because I have more important work to do. because I'm not going to receive instructions while I'm performing.
This particular method of immersion is really a little overrated. And he says,
Okay, go ahead.
I've actually been watching you for a long time, Jasper Finch.
He rather stiffly kind of like, he had turned around to ignore and just continue about his business, but then he stops again. And there is once more that kind of like fighting on his expression before his shoulders sag a bit. He lets like a sigh and mutters under his breath, more to himself, but it could be considered an aside to an audience. He would say, so we are to present this metatextually. Spins around and just addresses, says, what then do you mean, cat?
I am a saint of the armchair of boundless knowledge, also known as Everyone's a Critic and All Monday Morning. And I just think you could, emote a little more. That's all.
Is it the territory of this illicit armchair god to provide direction to a performer? I was not aware that. Well, I guess if the name is Everyone's a Critic, I guess that makes, he looks down at the cat pointedly, everyone and everything a critic. Fine. What more do you want from me? How shall I emote? Do you wish me to stand atop this building and speak to the people of this wretched little town?
I just think you could emote more. That's all, in my expert opinion.
Expert, fine. So I
The
shall.
cat has now curled up and nodded off at your feet.
Not the worst review. Fine, I shall exit stage left and emote. This is why I don't work in community theater. And yeah, I will continue on my way.
Indeed. Zedna, Patricia Morel, she says, I know you're a servant of the Saint Electric. How does she know you're a servant of the Saint Electric? What's the giveaway, even if you didn't intend it to be a giveaway?
I think I have some burn scars, electrical burn scars that are, well, they just look like regular scars to most people, but if you are in the know, you'll recognize them for what they are.
She says, I know what you're here doing. I know you're here to find out information about these unauthorized power generation gods that we use out here. But it's just that the Saint Electric's rates are so expensive.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm here. How did you know? How did you guess?
Well, I can see that you have some burn scars here. Those are pretty common among technician priests of the Saint Electric.
You must be more clever than anybody else in this whole
Well,
place.
it's just the sort of thing that everyone's nervous about around here, you know?
Well, maybe if you take me to this
I
place,
hope.
I can get a look at it, and maybe we can figure out a deal.
I hope
plan.
Taj isn't in any sort of trouble over this.
Who?
Taj.
Oh, yes. No. He's going to show me around or something later.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, I'm sure you'll get to the bottom of it, and it's no business of mine. I'm just glad you're here, not to interfere with the growing operation.
Oh, what kind of growing operation?
Oh, well, it's you know, just it's the business that folks get up to.
Yeah. It must be a pretty big operation if you need a whole other source of energy.
Well, I really don't see what the fuss is all about. I mean, you know, the garden might require more than your usual flower bed does, but it provides. And
What
that's not to
does it
say I
provide?
don't. It's not to say I don't worry sometimes about what will happen if they aren't able to feed it properly. But those lads down in the warehouse seem to know what they're doing. That's neither here nor there.
Well, if this warehouse, if this growing operation is using a lot of energy and you need to have an illicit source of energy in order to power it, maybe I can help. Maybe I can help get the Saint Electric on your side.
Oh,
I do have a personal connection.
well, uh, maybe. Well, that's very interesting. You should talk to Gail Van Wyck.
And who's Gail Van Wyck?
She's one of the plant tenders down at the facility. She's much more knowledgeable about these things than I am.
Oh, could you put in a good word for me with her?
Certainly.
I'm not just some strange person showing up and asking about their growing operation. That would be so awkward.
She's probably on her break right now. We could go down to the courtyard. We might be able to catch her.
Let's do it.
And you'll pass Jasper on the way.
I'm gonna side eye him because he's talking to a cat.
Actually, I'm not. Oh, Sedna, there you are. I've been looking all over for you. Where are you headed?
Oh, we're going to go meet. I'm sorry, what was the person's name? Grace? Gracie? Annie? Somebody. We're going to go meet somebody who works at the warehouse. Did you know there's a really wonderfully large growing operation here in this town?
He blinks at Sedna and says, "Yes, I did. Very well. I shall accompany you. I think I've exhausted the usefulness of the tenants of this building, and
You really don't have to. You
Oh,
know, I'm
no,
sure
please,
there's-
I insist. I am happy to come along. Besides, I need a change of scenery."
Great. I suppose you can come along then.
Wondrous. Let us go and see this grow operation.
Theo, speaking of said grow operation, what are you doing right now? Leo is sort of pointing things out. He, is sort of kind of very, very excited about like a lot of the things that are kind of growing here, but you can kind of tell that there's a nervousness, like because there are things, this place is like clearly overgrown, and he's a little worried about what sorts of things are turning up, and I think he's just kind of barely keeping it all in check at this point. What do you do?
Like, does Leo have any of those plants growing out of him like the other workers do?
No, I would say no. I don't think
Okay.
he's quite as affected. Yeah, he might be affected by this plant god, but I don't think he is.
Okay.
Not as obviously, anyway.
All right. Well, that's not that. Well, I can't go down that route. Okay. Is there any places that we're kind of avoiding, such as like I imagine like we're just being on the
Oh.
public path? What sort of things
That's a
are
good
little bit
question. Go ahead and
secrets?
make the information move with reason. Yeah, with reason.
Absolutely not. That is a 6.
Very good. We'll come back to this. Pele, you have managed to separate from the two of them a little bit. You're in this processing area. Doesn't seem like there's anyone around, but what do you do?
I think Pele is going to start looking around like the corners, the nooks and crannies. Like, what is like it's very easy to like see all of this and just overlook this room because it's just like it's just holding stuff, it's a holding area. But like, is there like vegetation growing in through the corners? Is there like stuff that's being overlooked? Are there OSHA violations happening? It's not OSHA, but like similar OSHA violations happening.
Interesting. You can go ahead and make the information move with reason.
Fantastic. Perfect. Should I go bone dice or blue dice? Let's go bone dice.
I have actual bone dice upstairs. I just realized this. They're made of actual cow bones. I should maybe grab those on the break.
That is a 5.
2 misses.
2 misses.
Not great. Not great.
Yeah.
As you are both roaming around, you're not noticing that the plants are moving behind you. So as you walk past a plant, a vine shifts, a flower opens, something slithers into place. When you turn around, Theo, you are immediately aware of an array of leaves, petals, delicate flowers of shifting hues. They are sending off alluring patterns and scent in order to draw you in. Let's do the revelation move, Theo. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail to resist?
I'm afraid that this plant will continue to propagate inside of me.
I think that's fair. It is worse than that. You will be co-opted by this harvest god to remove unwanted pox, so to speak, of the plants to make them healthy. Go ahead and roll with
Communion?
insight, communion. Yeah, I think it's probably communion. Yeah.
Mhm. If it wasn't a -1, I would have passed, but no, it's a 6.
It's a 6. Pele, yours is a similar situation, but you're in the processing room, which isn't completely overgrown like the growing room is. And so here, the plants are operating on a slightly more direct and inelegant solution to the problem of the invader. You have failed to notice that there are thorny vines wrapping around your lower legs, ready to pierce you and inject you with something. You're aware of it now, and let's do the revelation move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think I'd like to nullify that revelation move by reciting a verse for the
very good.
information move. Yeah.
Very good. Go ahead and decide which verse you're going to write. History, prophecy, or the special one. And instead, your result is a mid result, which is a clue. Possibly a complication on the clue. I'll decide later. Jasper Finch and Sedna Spender. The courtyard kind of like, I mean, the tenement building and the warehouse, they're very close to each other, right? So a lot of times whenever people are on break, they just kind of come back home to the tenements to, get their lunch or whatever they're going to do. You go down ostensibly to find Gail Van Wyck and anybody else who might be helpful, but you actually run into someone else. There is a man wearing an incredibly clean, slick business suit. He He has a fresh undercut, and you can see tattoos peeking out from the collar and cuff of his white shirt. And Patricia Morell goes, "Oh, that's Haven."
Who's Haven?
He's the head of growing operations.
Oh. So he'd be even better to talk to than Gale.
Well, yes, I suppose, but and Haven actually turns and he sees you both and he says, "Oh, you must be who I'm here to speak to."
Yes. Yes, you are. Greetings. And
Remind me, which newspaper are you from again?
What are some newspapers that are in the world that we know about?
I don't
Just
know.
make up
Just
one?
name
Okay, cool.
something. Yeah, make up something.
The Glottage Chronicle.
Oh, the Chronicle. Yeah. Okay, well, that's good enough, I guess. Well, we are doing some really, really exciting stuff. Take this down.
Oh, absolutely. I reach into my satchel and just pull out loose papers and pens because, of course, Jasper has these. Yes,
Follow me.
absolutely. Wrapped with listening.
He strides across the gravel parking lot to the grow operation. Pickles is at your heels, and he says, "I'm going to retract my previous criticism, and I think you should probably. You're kind of at a 9 right now, and I think you should
Shut up,
probably
cat.
dial it down to about an 8 or 7 would be really
Be
great.
quiet, cat.
Just for believability's sake." You head across the gravel to the parking lot behind the fence. What are you doing, Sedna?
I'm waving Jasper off.
I don't notice.
You get inside. Haven is like kind of pointing things out. You haven't gone into the warehouse yet, but there's like people, workers walking around carrying things and milling about. And he's like, "What we're doing here is revolutionary. We are truly bridging
Yes.
worlds." You can quote me on
Absolutely.
that. Bridging worlds. I like that.
We are bridging worlds.
Now I know how that sounds,
Visionary.
but think about it.
Sounds visionary.
Thank you. What if you could be a part of the same rituals your ancient ancestors practiced while being among the first to pilot the rituals of the future? Instead of
Yet-
seasonal rituals, we're giving this god 24/7 worship through automated prayer mark integration and a robust sacrificial program that adapts to changing conditions on the ground.
These roots will get you in touch with your roots.
Ah, thank you. You should get into marketing.
Oh, no. The world of journalism is all Laurencio Schneider needs.
Anyway, what we're doing here in exchange for this 24/7 worship, this God grants us unprecedented results that actually evolve with our offerings. So the specs of each small batch tea reflect the unique qualities of local sacrifices. It's totally changing the game.
And how would you define the game as it is from your perspective? Everyone has a take on the game. What is yours?
Go ahead and make an information move with presence.
Absolutely. I'm gonna think back to my collection of every bad review I've ever received in those years and mark that because I am taking criticisms into account for my performance. All right, 3 dice. Nice. That is an 11.
Nice, good. I owe you a clue. Sedna, Patricia says, "Well, that was very exciting."
Oh, yeah, that's my colleague. He works for the newspaper. Well, they're out of our hair now.
Taj approaches the two of you. He says, "Well, I'm all done here. Sedna, right?
Yes.
I was wondering,
Terry, right?
Taj, I was wondering, are you busy right now?"
Well, Patricia and I are going to go meet. Sorry, I've forgotten her name already.
Patricia says, No. You two young folk, you go do whatever it is that young folk do.
Patricia, I think it's really important that at least we get an idea of what sort of energy needs you need so that when I do speak to the Saint Electric, I know what I'm saying.
Oh, is that, this is Taj, is that what you're here for?
Yeah, it's all top secret, Terry. You have to be very quiet about it.
I mean, I've been hearing talk about this new god in the outer cities, where they've had all those power outages lately. I mean, the Saint Electric only delivers when you pay her tithes or buy the new appliances with her mark, right? But these gods allow you to siphon power for a lot
Yeah,
less.
it's very illegal.
Right. Well, yeah, but not everyone can afford to make offerings that the
Well,
Saint Electric requires.
that's why you need to have an advocate on your behalf to the Saint Electric.
Well, but the Saint Electric also isn't so responsive when it comes to less than legal activities. I mean, these
That's
gods,
why
these
I
new gods, they help whenever you need to, like, hotwire a car or rig a satellite or something like that.
Why are you hot wiring cars?
I didn't say I was hotwiring cars. I'm just saying if you had
Do you know how to
excessive.
hotwire a car?
No, I walk
Oh,
everywhere or ride my
that's-
bike.
Hmm.
Oh,
Would have been cool.
would that have been cool? I
It
mean,
would have been cool.
bikes are cool too.
Sure. Sure they are. Anyway, I think I do need to go see this warehouse, or at least these power generators that you've got using.
He's like, I might know something about that. I could take you.
Patricia, would you mind putting a good word in with Grace for me? And I'll go with Terry and we'll go check this out.
Taj smiles and says, "Yeah, come, yeah. Patricia's got it under control." He's like, "So, you're from Glottage?"
Yeah, it's my hometown.
It's cool. It's great.
Yeah,
You look
it's
like
a
a
nice place.
big city type.
Yeah, I'm not used to being out here in the sticks.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not all so bad. I mean, everyone here kind of looks out for each other, That's something that I think you probably can't say about the city.
Yeah, I suppose that is true. Are we walking to the place where you have to go? Is that a far
It's not
walk?
far. It's not far. It's just right here.
Okay.
Um, so, yeah.
This generator or these generators that I've heard about. Do you know some stuff about them? What do you
Well,
know about them?
it's helpfully outside the fence, and so we just have to walk around the back, and it's kind of a bit of a mess, if I'm being honest.
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to worry about that, that's on you, but I'm okay with a little bit of a mess and we can just, sneak around back there and,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
check the place out.
Um.
Gosh, you
Cool.
are really brave for taking me on these little tours. I'm just very
That's
impressed. I
nothing.
kind of expected country
No.
boys to be.
I'm pretty. You know. I'm. I'm just out here, just kind of chilling right now.
Yeah, I can tell. You've got a lot of chill.
He takes you around the back of the warehouse, and indeed, there is a generator altar set up with numerous thick cables and wires connecting to it, all of which have various symbols and prayer marks scrawled on them. Says this place needs a lot of power, and well, I don't want to suggest that what they're doing here is illegal, but it's power needs that the Saint Electric typically looks down upon.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. I don't really understand though. Why would a growing operation need so much power? You're growing what, like corn?
I don't really know. But you're not going to
Oh,
tell anyone about this, right? That I showed you this
well, I have to do. I just have to do a little bit of inspection stuff. Just for my job. It's not going to be a big
for safety.
deal. Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm trying to get the Saint Electric on your side, so
Right.
just let me take a look at this. I'm gonna look at the generator. What I actually want to do is use my Sacred Conduit move, which the spark of the Saint's power still lives within me. When I channel the divine currents of the Saint Electric, I can do a special thing. But what I want to do is just sort of maybe touch this generator, like I'm seeing to see how hot it is, how hot it's
Mhm.
running. I want to short it out.
Oh, very good. Okay, I like that. Let's go ahead and check in on your move. A spark of the saint's power still lives within you. When you channel the divine currents of the Saint Electric, mark a charge box and make your next roll with advantage. And you can also get double advantage with this move. That's pretty wild.
Mhm.
Love that. This is going to be the revelation move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That I am going to get electrocuted.
Which would be a really ironic and grim
Yes.
thing. It's worse than that. I think that you are going to become a living battery that is going to somehow
There's
enhance
worse.
the power of the hungering roots. God. So go ahead and roll with advantage. And it's probably communion, but I'm actually going to go with vitality.
All right, that's a little better. All right, and that is a 6. We're doing great.
Really, really great. We got a few misses on the table. Let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back and resolve these things. Jasper, remind me, what was your die roll?
11.
Okay, so you're getting a clue. Great. We'll give you your clue now. So you were asking Haven to like inadvertently give you more insight, right?
Yeah.
And as you're talking to him, he's giving you all this like spiel, right? Like I kind of did earlier. He's just giving you all this like marketing speak and all this like, big, big innovator, kind of like speak and all this other stuff, very venture capitalist kind of speak. But in between, he pauses occasionally to say slightly under his breath, all things decay but bring forth new life. So he's like, yeah, new innovations and da 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 da. All things decay but bring forth new life. That's your clue, that phrase.
I will write that down. I think Jasper blinks a couple times and just goes, yeah, I think that's a good quote. All things decay. And what was the second part?
Bring forth new life.
And bring forth new life. Is that a metaphor or literal?
You're really laying it on a little too thick right now.
I don't take your meaning.
That was Pickles.
Oh, that's Pickle. Oh, gotcha. Like I fucking just nudged the cat with my foot. And Mr. Haven, was it? Shall I just
Haven.
Just Haven? That's how I will quote you, Haven. It's iconic. It's like it's your brand. Haven. Yes. So anyway, yes, continue. You were saying.
And yeah, he's kind of going on and continuing. He's not really giving, he's kind of giving you a tour, but not so much. We'll come back to that in a moment. Pele, you bumped up your information move to get a clue and possibly a complication. I haven't decided yet on that. But I will tell you, we were initially looking for like things that people might be trying to keep hidden. And I'm going to tell you about that in addition to your clue. So you're looking around and you notice a couple of things. The first thing you notice is your clue, which is in this processing center, hanging high in a place of prominence, is a large ritual wreath formed of broken scythes, broken shovels, and other broken traditional farming equipment. The other thing you notice is there is someone who comes into the processing room, and They go around a corner. There's a big stack of crates, maybe ready for delivery, or were at least being prepared for delivery. They go around this little makeshift wall of crates. And if you try to follow them, when you go around that corner, you notice that they're gone.
Clever.
What do you do?
Very clever. Haley's going to open up the briefcase and is going to bring out a bottle of milk. This time, not a carton of milk, because it's not for personal use. This one is a glass bottle of milk. I close the briefcase. Take a sip. And then it's going to pour it on the ground and see if there's a place where it drips. It like leaks into like a different area or anything like that.
I like it. I don't need to move here. I like this. You'll see, indeed, the milk is draining underneath one of the crates. It's not pooling up like it should. And if you kick that crate a little bit, you'll see that it's actually covering up an opening in the floor that is connected to a ladder. What do you do?
Haley is going to look around. We don't have radios, do we?
No.
Haley's going to look around, look back over to where they came from. Theo's busy. Theo would be angry if I didn't pursue a lead. And then just try to push it or move it aside and is going to climb down.
Theo is busy. Indeed, I'm going to combine Sedna and Theo's misses to work hand in hand with each other. Sedna, you are attempting to use Sacred Conduit to short this power god, this unauthorized electricity god, or at least this altar. But as we know, all of the custodians are not in great standing with their gods, right? That's the whole reason why they're custodians. And so sometimes things don't work as you intend. Or it could be that this rogue power god is more powerful than you anticipated. But in any case, you find yourself grabbing onto the cables, believing you'll be safe, but instead being overcharged with power. Electricity is coursing through your body, and the altar itself is starting to sizzle and pop as you create a better connection for the power flowing here. Your arms begin to char as the electricity is burning you up. Taj realizes that this is not how this is supposed to be going and attempts to be a hero here and knock you free. But instead, he gets caught. And as you are sort of fusing with this entity, becoming a sacred battery, you're watching Taj burn up, just turn into charcoal as his skin burns, his eyes sizzle and burst in the sockets, and his hair fries away. This power, this sudden surge in power, makes the mirrored petals glow brighter and more intensely, Theo, and you are drawn in to this strange pattern. And you can hear, Theo, over your shoulder, Leo saying, "Oh, You are the gift that was promised. I can't believe I didn't see it before. Yes, we have been waiting for you. We have been waiting for you to remove that which is unclean. The tendrils of the plant begin to insert themselves underneath your epidural layer, Theo, in your hands, and they begin to entwine with your veins, and they begin to pull your veins out of your skin,
Oh,
creating a beautiful, almost gossamer-like web, a net of veins intertwined with tendrils of plants as your poxmartyr blood cleans fungal rot. Unless you're both going to write a verse right now to avoid
Yeah.
all of that from happening.
I will write a verse.
Very good. Is anyone choosing the assignment verse? Or are you choosing prophecy for history?
Not yet. I'm going to choose a verse of history.
Very good.
You know what? I'm gonna pick the assignment first.
The verse of the inevitable harvest. By doing this one, it says each custodian, not just you, Theo, each custodian describes a hope or dream they have of someday living in abundance with all their needs met. Sedna, you shorting the power is actually what saves Theo. And so for people watching the video who don't know how this works, because these characters have written a verse, we essentially rewind, and what I just narrated did not happen. Now, what does happen instead is, Sedna, you are like shorting the thing out. Taj is fine. You do get burns on your arms though, so I'm giving you that as a condition. You're gonna have burned forearms. And Theo, you snap out of it because of basically the power goes out and the plant reacts to that, and you're snapped out of this hypnosis that it was doing on you. I am, however, going to give you a condition which is dazed.
Mhm.
And you can hear Leo saying, "Oh, God damn it. I've been trying to tell Haven that we should just apply for official prayer marks from the Saint Electric. It would make our lives so much easier." He's like, "Excuse me." And he kind of like leaves you there, Theo, and walks off. And so at this point, we'll pick up with Jasper. Jasper says, "So, how are you feeling about this story? I don't want a puff piece. I want you to tell the truth."
Yes, and the truth shall be spoken.
But the
I'm
truth is quite
feeling-
bitchin', you have to agree.
The truth is most bitching. I do think that the readers of the Glottage Chronicle are going to find themselves utterly enraptured in what changes you are offering in the world of not just agriculture, but to health and wellness and overall livelihoods. I mean, truly,
And we're going to
you
make fuck tons of money, too.
And truly, you are the definition of an upstart. I must tell you personally that I believe, as a writer, I've done many, many endeavors into the nature of business and divinity and the way that people engage with these vastly indifferent powers in the worlds around us. And Haven, this businessman, this respectable figure of a small exterior community in Glottage, came along one day, entered the stage, if you will, and set forth his determined position to look in the face of these powers, these greater forces of our world, and despite the futility of engaging with these powers, staked your claim of, I
shall make not just a difference, but I shall make a shit ton of money off of this endeavor. It is deeply respectable, and it's something that I think my readers will find, well, if you can pardon a little bit of blaspheming, worthy of worship in of itself.
Pickles is conspicuously asleep right now, his
Shut the fuck
slightly
up, Pickles.
elongated paws over his ears and eyes. Haven says, "That's exactly right. Thank you. I didn't catch your name."
Laurencio Schneider.
He's like, "Well, Laurencio, I'm glad that we're simpatico on this.
Yes, indeed. Simpatico indeed.
What would you like to see?"
Oh, well, all this talk has me excited. May I see the source of this product? May I see where you grow it up
I'm
close and
afraid
personal?
that's a little too much of a trade secret.
Fine. Let me ask you this. This appeals certainly to the business minded and certainly those who look to be inspired by upstarts, but what about the more salt of the earth agricultural sorts? What sort of fertilizer do you use? Do you compost? Do you utilize nutrients in your soil? What sort of agricultural details, if there's any aspect of your facility that I could see to write and touch on that subject for those who care about those specifics?
He's like, those
thrilled.
details are a little bit below my pay grade. I'd be more than happy, though, to let you talk to some of the, some of the plant tenders, some of the growers.
Oh, yes. I think the piece could use that blue collar touch.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And he'll kind of lead you into the actual warehouse proper. And he'll notice the power is out. And he'll be like, "Yeah, we like to turn the power off every now and then. We find that we don't want to overstimulate the plants with too much, light. And so
And
it's
I'm
good
sure
to be in complete darkness from time to time.
And I'm sure the scarcity of light kills off the weaker plants, and as you said, decay bring forth new lives. So simply just like
That's exactly right.
Prioritizing the strongest product.
That's right. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, we definitely don't always keep the lights off." He calls out to someone. Let's check in with Pele. Pele, you go down this little ladder and you see an altar. It can be nothing but an altar. A massive earthenware pot, etched in prayer marks, split and cracked violently by an explosion of blood-red tendrils and pale shoots. Rich black soil cascades from cracks in the cement underfoot, cradled by glistening bone-white roots. The worker who disappeared down this ladder is also kneeling and praying in front of it, this little harvest altar. Let's paint the scene, everyone. How do the elements of this altar incorporate both ancient harvest rituals and innovations in modern sacrificial practices?
I've got one. Pele knows it well. Blood that is taken from this altar is spread throughout the room with an irrigation type system, utilizing gravity and trenches.
There are a series of cages, and inside of them are trapped rodents that have been crawling amongst the growing things and feeding off of them that have been caught and put in these cages. The rodents are all dead. They have been gassed in order to sacrifice to this harvest god to show that they are going to be keeping pests away.
there are a series of mounted monitors that are kind of surrounding the altar that are connected to very fuzzy but low still like live feed security camera footage of various workers whose job in the facility is to perform grow dances and supplications, and they capture these footage from all parts of the facility, from the break rooms, from the personal quarters, and just stream it directly onto the altar with the light of the monitors.
I would say that the plant itself doesn't seem to be uniform in what's growing altogether. It seems as though many different plants have been grafted together, sort of in this weird genetic hybrid.
Very nice. I like it. I will say, Pele, the complication from your last clue is that you are marked by the harvest god. This manifests initially when this person who's praying at the altar raises his head and says, "Yes, my lord, I shall deal with this intruder." And they stand up, and you can see that their eyes have gone a weird shade of milky green. He turns to you and he says, "What are you doing here, friend? You look like you're lost."
Not lost. Fellow brother of the rose, but found exactly where I need to be. I should ask you the same question. Now, are we going to handle this like genteel people? Or am I going to have to cut the harvest short?
He pulls a spade out of his pocket. And he says, "You look like the sort of person who hasn't gotten his hands dirty in the soil in a good long time."
Pele is going to sigh and unzip the tracksuit part of the windbreaker, take it off, revealing like a very dirty just tank top. And you just see across like the muscles and the arms just cuts all over the place of just like that have healed poorly and scarred and everything. Pele is just going to look at this person and immediately make a grab for their head and just is going to try to smash their head into the altar.
This is going to be the revelation move.
Mm-hmm.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That I will be utilized as sacrifice for this harvest god.
Ooh, how is it worse than that? How intriguing. I'll take ideas if anybody has any thoughts on how it could be worse than what's a pretty bad outcome to begin with.
I have a somewhat even more gruesome idea.
Okay, I'm open to it.
You'll still be alive when you're sacrificed.
That's
Therefore,
good.
That's
you can be a little bit more mobile and the plant will spread.
much like oats. You do not completely kill the plant. You just reap it and let it grow over time. Yep. Okay.
Could be sacrificed like Nick Cage in The Wicker Man. That'd be pretty great.
The rings! The rings! Oh! Yeah.
The oats, not the oats.
The oats! They're in my ass! Oh!
I love it. This is going to be at disadvantage because you're marked by the harvest god. But do go ahead and roll with, I think this is the way you've described it. It's going to be vitality for sure.
I'm going to mark my heirloom seed packet smuggled from Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth.
Mhm.
Using those seeds as a distraction, almost like pocket sand, but pocket
Oh, I was gonna
seed.
throw it in his face. Yeah.
This person has offended me by saying that my hands have not been in soil for a while, because they have not technically, but
Yeah.
there are things, there are
I love it.
connections.
I love it. Okay, so you get to cancel out the disadvantage, and so you roll 2 dice
Perfect.
and add your vitality.
That sped for a long time. Okay, that is a 5 plus 4 plus 1 is a 10.
Nice. Jasper, I think you can hook up with Theo at this point if you wish. Haven's just going on and trying to figure out what's going on with the lights while also trying to like keep up a good front, right?
Ah, Theo, here you are.
Uh,
Yes. Oh, yes. Tell me, what do you think? What word is better? Evocative or? No, hold on. Crosses out something on his note and says, "I'm trying to get the wording on this article just right." And
article.
yes, an article for the Glottich Chronicle. I
Uh,
interviewed Haven for it.
Jasper.
Mm.
This is whatever this is. That's kind of pretend, right? You don't actually work for the Chronicle.
He's
Yes, I know.
acting right now.
No, shut up, Pickles. I know. I still want to play the part earnestly. How am I to convincingly portray the illusion of a reporter if I can't write a single good article? Never mind. A time and place.
Yeah, I think we may need to extricate ourselves from this place for a little while.
Oh, but it was just getting good. Okay, man. Okay, fine, fine.
Technically speaking, all of the employees may be under a plant influence. It's much bigger than.
So he quickly gets the paper back out and begins like writing down. This is this is good. This is good. The futility of the farmers so used to reaping crop, and now the crop reaps them. Oh, this article's taken on a whole new direction. Laurencio Schneider is making Reporter of the Year, that is for certain. Let's see here. Notes. Oh, we should go now, is what you meant.
Yes,
oh,
we
yes.
need to go now.
Yes, good idea. I'll get the van, and I don't know where Pele went. Sedna was outside.
Pele can handle themselves. They have cereal.
Yes, of course. Then everything is
Yeah.
peachy.
Yes, they think that this plant also makes cereal, so they're very comfortable here. It's best not to question it. I think they can handle this.
Fine. What are you thinking? I mean, we do have that report down the pipeline, as it were, that there's a village in need of our services. Shall we take a break from this little community, let it breathe, let it grow, no pun intended. Who am I kidding? It was absolutely intended. And then we can come back later.
Yeah, I think that it'll be
all
fine.
All this talk about cereal and growing has made me rather hungry. I hope there's a diner on the way. But the last 7 diners we've passed have been closed. Fine. Anyway, I'll get the car.
Pickles trots along behind you.
What's the deal with this cat?
It's a saint.
I find that most of these journalists nowadays are complete hacks. They should let me write those articles.
Can you hear the cat too, Theo, or is it just me now?
No, you can totally hear it, Theo.
Well, yes, but I'm trying to ignore it.
Yes, this is Pickles, a saint if everyone's a critic, and if that wasn't the most earnest name for a divinity, I don't know what is.
You must have terrible luck to come across this saint.
I consider myself a fortunate wanderer. I find interesting things. Whether they interest me or not is out of the question, but they are surely interesting to those observing.
Well, the sort of the father of the fallen curtain meets the armchair critic, well, it just seems a little bit ironic or fortuitous or something opposite of that.
Let's not talk about that right now.
Do tell
I
us,
have
O
other things.
wordsmith.
Perhaps when we are on the road, looks down at Pickles, do you intend to follow me all the way around the peninsula, or do you wish to stay here in this little community?
I need to check in on Lucas.
Yes.
So we may have to reconvene at another time.
Then I bid you adieu, Pickles, saint of the armchair. This is the most civil conversation, well, the only conversation I've ever had with a saint before, so I don't know whether to feel thankful, irritated, or in some way awestruck. So let's just say it's a nice mix of all of them at once.
He gently strokes you with his long, furry fingers.
Oh.
And trots off. Sedna.
I hate that cat.
Taj says, I think you did it. I heard all the machinery shutting off. It's gone totally quiet. I can also hear people hollering and yelling in some distress. I'm not sure that we should stay here much longer.
My arms!
Oh my God.
Oh my God, do you see my arms? Look at this!
He's like, I thought that was, I thought they were
Well,
having
stop battling and help me!
yeah, I might have something. He goes into his little bag and he's kind of pulling out different things. He's like,
Master man! This hurts!
energy drink. No, I don't think that's gonna do. He's kind of going, I've got some chitterling cracklings. I don't think that's gonna quite work either.
Oh, you're useless! And I'm going to run back to where I know the van was parked.
Indeed. Pele, please give us the scene.
I think Pele stands and waits and is like gesturing to this milky green-eyed follower, this acolyte, to come toward. And as soon as the guy takes like a swipe at him, Pele just tosses like the seeds, has opened the packet in his pocket, tosses the seeds at his eyes. It's not like super effective, but it's just like it delays the guy enough for Pele to grab the wrist, extend the arm, break the elbow, the item drops, then grabs the back of the guy's head, knocks his face into the altar, and then one time, two times rapid succession, and then a third time, and then lifts it up looking up at the altar, and it's just going to ask real quickly, tell me, is this what you expected when you were worshiping your harvest god like this? To be brought on your knees before it, but in this way?
He just like,
what means is this harvest god's control over you and the rest of the people? Tell me and I'll make it quick.
oh, that's good. Roll the investigation or the information move with presence and regular dice.
Oh. Okay. Sick. Oh, super sick. With presence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not that great. So 11.
Okay. Give you one last clue here. He passes out, but not before dropping something from his hand. An antique bronze sundial, each hour etched with a prayer mark and trailing copper conductor wires, which look like they've been recently snipped. I can give you a little
with snipped wires.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Antique bronze sundial.
Sick. Awesome. Pele's just gonna look down at the ground at it and say, thank you, you've been very helpful. And it's gonna grab a spoon from their back pocket and jam it into the throat.
Just a
and
little-
then pull it out and then just drop.
Very good. Let's put you all back together by the van. Roleplay.
Theo, my arms! It fucking hurts!
Oh,
Theo!
what did you get into?
Fix it! Just
Y-
fix it!
Oh, this is very easy to handle.
Well, then handle it!
Give me your hands. Come here, come here, come here.
I do.
And I take on the burden that you have onto myself, for it is no trouble to me whatsoever. And as I do that, I get to trigger one of my moves.
Let it pass unto me.
When you transfer a physical condition from another custodian yourself, or a physical ailment from a side character yourself, noting it as a condition on your sheet, roll with vitality. On a hit, choose one. On a 10 plus 2, 2. So I have to roll.
Yeah, you take the condition from
Yep.
from Sedna, which is great, and
Mhm.
then go ahead and roll. See how it goes.
Yep. Absolute garbage. That is a 5.
Yeah, I was gonna put you at disadvantage too because of dazed, but it doesn't matter. So
Also part of that move is I don't take disadvantage from physical conditions.
oh, that's true. Well, I think it's maybe questionable whether dazed is physical or psychological, but nevertheless, you got a 5. Okay, so does it say what happens on a miss?
No, you just get to make a
I just
reaction.
get to react. Yeah. Well, you take the condition, of course,
Mhm.
and I think the miss is really straightforward. This one does affect you for some reason. I
Mhm.
think because the burns are actually they are scars. They're burn scars, but they are burn scars in the shape of prayer marks on your arms. And so that one can affect you, and you should alter the condition appropriately.
Mm.
Pele, Jasper, you're there as well. But Theo, what does this look like, though? I want the visual here. Like, what does it look like to receive and to take this wound from Sedna in the manner of a poxmonk?
I think this may be a little bit psychologically horrifying to Sedna, because it's not just the wounds of like the burn marks from today, but she did mention that she had other burn marks from her god, and so I think this is like sort of the sign of her devotion to that god, and I take it all onto myself. So like she loses out some of her connection to her god. So, and I think Theo contemplates about this and is just intensely disturbed by this, because this is not what he intended to do. And he hopes that the pox monk isn't, well, the pox martyr isn't too upset with him.
Very intriguing. Jasper, you can see Pele and coming as well. Pele, are you like trying to hide the fact that you just smashed someone's head in, or
I think Pele just like pulled themselves up out, moved the crate back over, and is walking. And like when we see Pele walking towards the van, zipping up the windbreaker, the tracksuit, and has a rag and is wiping the blood off of the spoon, and just tosses the rag off to the side into like a trash bin.
So they're not looking totally suspicious, Jasper,
No.
but nevertheless, let's pick up the scene.
Pele, I'm hungry. Are you hungry as well?
I could always eat.
Good.
Got
I
into
was
some peckish.
Yeah, well, I was just saying to Theo moments ago that we should probably extricate ourselves from this little community, perhaps wind our way towards Weft and grab a meal en route if we feel like there's time to stop for one. I feel famished.
I agree. I think that maybe we should take a break from here. The atmosphere is constricting. Famished though. Goes and like roots through the briefcase and then pulls out a box of they're called honey poppers.
Was never a fan of these, but
Oh, if you're not a fan of these, then I provide you these, and they're called lucky trinkets.
ooh, I do like those. I don't want to spoil my appetite, but what the hell? Yes, and take some, eat some.
Perfect. Perfect. You get to take the condition jolly. You may clear this condition at any time to get advantage on a single roll, but afterwards you gain the condition empty. You cannot eat any more of my treats until clearing the condition.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
Okay, that's very intriguing. I like it. Okay.
Oh my Pele, this is absolutely. I don't think I could recall the last time I've had cereal that just so honestly makes me feel happy. It doesn't. I'm not.
Grain-based treats.
It's so my goodness. Breakfast really is the most important meal of the day.
Really
Oh
is. You should
my.
not skip it.
Well, I just the whole starving artist stereotype. I quite
Mhm.
literally though I don't have time. It's just
I
but I should
understand.
make it. Oh, Pele, thank you.
Of course.
I think this will hold me over until we find a more suitable, filling meal. Oh,
Suitable.
this
Yes.
Before you
fuels
leave,
the furnace of my heart.
Taj will come up to the window next to the seat you're in, Sedna, and he'll say, "Will I see you again?"
No.
And that feels like a good time to do the journey phase.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the journey phase. This is the first time we're doing it, so let's talk about how it works. The journey phase is comprised of two parts, the journey scene and the journey move. So we're saying the word journey a lot, but just think about it as phase, scene, move. So the phase is the phase that we trigger whenever one or more custodians travels between assignments. In this case, you're all going to travel between the assignments, and so all characters are in the journey phase. The journey scene is the scene that we're going to use to memorialize the journey. You're probably seeing all kinds of things as you travel from place to place, but this is the one that we're going to highlight in a cinematic way. And then the journey move is something you do within the scene. This is optional, you don't have to do it, but basically the journey move allows two custodians to get together and have an intimate moment with each other in order to clear conditions and maybe stumble on clues. Or alternatively, if you're not feeling social or if you're by yourself, you can engage your personal ritual during the journey move to clear a condition. So phase triggered, and now we'll define the scene. And I need to pull it up really quickly. I don't have it ready to go. So give me one moment. All right. Our journey scene is going to be one of many. One of many roadside diners. Gods must feed, but everyone gets hungry. Diners and cafes of every sort can be found scattered along even the least traveled roads of the peninsula. And you all stop in a diner called Big Boy's Bottomless Barbecue Pit. I'll clip that for you. Big Boy's Bottomless Barbecue Pit. We have some questions, some paint the scene questions that you're going to consider before you before we go into the journey scene or the journey move. Paint the scene, one for each of you. You each get to answer this question or a question. For Theo, here in Big Boy's Bottomless Barbecue Pit, what notable iconography or decor stands out to you? For Pele, what special is featured on the menu? For Sedna, what quirky diner tradition do the locals maintain here? And for Jasper, what rumor have you heard about the owner of this establishment? I'll clip those questions so you'll have them handy if you want. Furthermore, you have the option of doing the journey move in the middle of, after you're done describing the scene. And the journey move is, as I noted before, a sort of vulnerable conversation between two characters. You get to unload on each other a little bit or talk about your past or whatever you want. And I'm going to give you a little prompt called Recall a Time. You can follow this prompt or not, but it's just to get your imagination and your creativity going for this scene. And your Recall a Time prompt for this journey scene is going to be, what escapades of your youth brought you to a late night diner? We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do the journey phase. Big Boy's Bottomless Barbecue. As you walk in, Theo, what notable iconography or decor stands out to you?
It's less of a we walk in and see it. It's more or less we see it from the outside. They make their barbecue in a giant pit. So it literally is bottomless barbecue pit.
Oh, there's like an actual like pit in front
Yeah.
of the, oh, interesting. Very
Yeah.
intriguing. Pele, what special is featured on the menu today?
Well, today is a little bit special, but what better way to get out of a pit than some blood eagle wings, huh?
That sounds horrifying. As I know what a blood eagle is, and that's grotesque. Sedna, what quirky diner tradition do the locals maintain here?
Just inside the diner doors, there is a tall statue of Big Boy himself. He's probably 8-9 feet tall. He has the head of a cow. He's got the arms of a chicken, the chicken wings. His legs are pig legs. His body is scaly like a fish, and he is large. In his cow mouth, he has a blood red steak that's even in the statue. You can see that it's dripping with blood. And the locals, as you watch, every time they enter, they rub his belly to bless their meal.
Jasper, what rumors have you heard about the owner of this particular Big Boy's Bottomless Barbecue?
I heard that they used to be a peat farmer in this region prior to this pit emerging miraculously, and that when the endless, peat fire began to stir beneath it that churns out constant fragrant smoke, not only did they consecrate this new site for the barbecue diner by shepherding herds of cattle and hogs into it in the name of the chitterling, but all of their fellow peat miners as well were also cast into the depths and smoked and turned into saints of the barbecue.
I love that. Sounds like Big Boy is a saint of the chitterling as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I love all this. Thank you. Let's talk about the journey move. So During the investigation phase, which is what we've been doing up until this point, the focus really is on the investigation. There's not a lot of opportunity or space for the characters to have personal moments, interpersonal moments with each other. This is your opportunity to do that during the journey phase, in particular, triggering the journey move, which reads, while traveling to another assignment, when you and another custodian share a scene where one of you talks about your personal history or relationship to divinity, clear an appropriate condition. If it's not your past being discussed, you can also stumble on a clue or invite the other player to ask you a question about your character's past. Now, it might be that you both end up talking about your own past, in which case I'll just make a decision about who gets to stumble on the clue, etc. So, how are you going to pair off if you're going to do the move at all? What does the scene look like?
I can do a pair off, or I can do a solo.
Pele is also easy like that. You know what? Pele is going to sit down right in front of. We could be at the diner, or it can be like at a rest stop or something, or while we're stopped or anything like that. But Pele is going to. I'm going to take initiative on this, y'all. Is going to sit down right in front of Jasper with like a bowl, like a travel bowl and a spoon.
We are in a booth at the diner.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And just like slides in. What are you writing?
Oh, I'm not writing actually. I'm taking notes. He shows like the sheets of various papers of plays and poems and things like that. I've been idly studying Farmers and Planners by Oles Gardner. It's an agricultural drama. I felt inclined to get in touch with my roots, per se, both as an actor and as someone who needs to engage in these agricultural affairs. It's a dismal piece, truly, but it is. It's well, it has a lot of agricultural facts, that is for sure.
Do you mind? And it's just going to grab it immediately.
Well, okay. All right. Sure.
Is the writer a farmer?
Oles Gardner, I believe they grew up on a farm somewhere south of Nesh.
Interesting. This isn't how farmers talk.
I've heard that criticism before. I've never performed this piece, but by all means, he kind of like puts his pen on the table. I mean, ultimately, for certain works, dialogue needs a dramaturg. Sure, I'd love to see your suggestions for how to alter this. Here, let's take the scene where Rosamond comes inside the farmhouse with the bow of her eye, Timothy, and she declares to her father, the steadfast patriarch of the family, that she wants to marry the city boy. And she says, in the scene as written, Father, I have made up my mind. I'm in love with Timothy, and I want to leave the farm. Who wrote this? I know it's Oles, don't be literal. To which her father replies, who's only identified as father. Father says, a daughter with that vainglorious fool from Glottage? Never in a million. I despise this dialogue. Change it.
Well, you see, the father wouldn't say vainglorious. The father would say, what manner of work has this man done? Are his hands soft or hardened by his labor?
My.
And then if she didn't have an answer for that, then he would say, well, then how much money does he have? We'll take it upon ourselves as a dowry. Maybe, how much is it worth to him, your heart? How much grain can it provide? How much seed or tools can it repair? Into which the man would then have to acquire or provide a price that's welcome. And then perhaps the father would agree upon it or see that that is not enough. And thus the daughter would not marry, or the daughter would marry.
Insight on these matters of dialogue comes so easy to you, Pele. I had no idea you were deep beneath your grainy shell, wordsmith yourself.
Personal experience provides personal insight.
Indeed, I imagine it does. That's what I try to emulate in my. Well, back when I was acting, I was trying to elevate the truth and find a personal connection. And I have to tell you, if I'm being honest, Pele, sometimes these characters, whether in the play or the characters with which we surround ourselves, are so dreadfully written or perform with the competency of a stuck pig it's disheartening. I mean, if the world is to be this grand performance for an audience that we cannot even begin to look through the eyes of, why then do we suffer bad actors? It sits in my belly like a stone. Like, have you ever walked with a pebble in your shoe?
Yes.
Yes, terrible discomfort. That's how I feel a lot of the time. It's like it's so hard to do what I know I am best suited for in this world when I am surrounded by fools, of which
Then
you
get-
are not one.
Then get rid of the fools.
Like recast them.
Yes.
Interesting.
It happened all the time. If you're not suited for a job, then you would be replaced.
This is true. And I mean, I've been in a few productions where we've had to recast a lead or even a background performer. If only life were so easy as to provide the perfect cast.
It was certainly easy. I mean, when Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth came to my village, took over, somebody wasn't doing their proper amount of work, there'd be a pneumatic gun pointing to their head. Do better. If they didn't, then the trigger was pulled.
And in your case, this gun was literal, whereas in mine, it was more of a metaphor for your career, where if you would never work in this town again. Oh, goodness, that brings me back. I recall this time when I was young. I was in a little production in my youth, back when I was an early thespian. And I have to tell you, dreadful performance, absolutely dreadful. The director was frothing at the mouth, raging with malcontent. And honestly, after that whole affair, I was surprised we would continue to perform for another 2 weeks. But it was a centering experience. I took that shame upon my back, walked about my neighborhood, found a little 24-hour diner, sat down and ordered a plate of hearty eggs and rashers of bacon, and I ate it and I told myself, Jasper, this is truth. This is centering. And indeed, breakfast is always, as you've said, the most important meal of the day, and for me, it's just the important meal for anyone who's in need of centering, if you know what I mean by that.
Indeed, I do. And I agree.
A waitress comes up and excuses herself for interrupting your conversation. She needs to replace your barbecue sauce container on the table. The little condiment containers are shaped like Big Boy, and the nozzle is placed in such a way that when you squeeze, it looks like Big Boy is peeing barbecue sauce onto your meat. Sorry, I'll get out of your way now. She continues on. Meanwhile, Theo and Sedna, what are the two of you doing?
I think I've set myself
Or you
up
can
at
be doing personal rituals if you wish as well. Yeah.
I
set
think
myself up at the bar, yeah, or at the counter.
yeah, I think Theo is curious about the barbecue pits. Just looking down in it, watching it. Feels a little bit ominous to have like this very deep pit here.
I think there's also like bleating and screaming that occasionally that goes up out of the pit, right?
Yeah.
Also, a terrible choice to go eat here when two of the characters have recently had terrible burns. You know?
Yeah, whose decision was it to go here?
Mhm.
Oh, mine. I love barbecue.
Of course it was. Yes, I am sitting at the counter and I have my little red radio out in front of me. I have a cup of black coffee and a plate with a small grilled cheese sandwich cut diagonally, which is the appropriate way to cut a grilled cheese sandwich. And there's one bite out of the sandwich, one sip from the coffee, and I'm just sort of turning the dials on the radio. There's no batteries in the radio. It doesn't turn on. It's just habit. And I'm thinking about how weird and pale my arms look without the burn marks of the Saint Electric, and how long it's been since I've just seen my regular skin, and thinking about the last time I was in a diner and how I was eating a grilled cheese sandwich and having a delicious cup of coffee, and it was a little transcendent. I had been not really had any food for a while. Certainly not had a nice cup of coffee, even if it's diner coffee, a good cup of diner coffee. And it just felt really peaceful to have nobody looking at me, nobody bothering me, nobody tailing me until the sirens of the police sirens started reflecting off the mirrors. But no matter, I'm sitting in this diner now and playing with my radio.
Can I refresh that cup for you, honey? Says the waitress with the carafe of coffee. The carafe is shaped to look like Big Boy is vomiting the coffee into your cup.
I push my cup of mostly full coffee towards her. Yeah, top up.
Theo, are you doing anything in the scene?
I think Theo, as a sort of matter, has been as like he's been staring down into this pit, has been like sort of carving these little wood carvings of little animals that he sees down into the pit. And after he's been done with one or two of them, he starts dropping them in.
Nice. Sedna, you have done your personal ritual, which is scanning the radio, even though it's sort of like not really scanning anything, but I like it. The only condition you have is marked by Taj Siddiqui. How might this help you like clear this condition?
I'm recentering myself on the job that I am doing, on being out of that situation, being somewhere else, and just sort of contemplating my current existence, which does not include what's his name?
Fantastic. You can clear that. Theo, per your let it pass into me move, you actually can't clear conditions from the journey move, but there are other things you can do to clear conditions. If you're interested in doing one of those things, by all means. But otherwise, I like where the scene is headed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can take more conditions. It's all right.
You got plenty of space. Pele, per the move, you get to stumble on a clue, or you can invite Jasper to ask you a question about your past.
Sure.
The question?
Yeah, question.
This is the world is my oyster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like as they're
Not the
eating,
not the best saying for this particular environment.
It's all the same. Yeah, as they're kind of like they're eating, Jasper got himself a nice thick slab of brisket, which he is drenching with the piss sauce. It's actually now drowning in his plate because he's more like staring at it, just like,
intrigued with. I think just gently Pele just grabs Jasper's hand and just moves it off of it and sets
Oh.
it down. Oh,
Thank you. It's almost hypnotic.
mm.
So Pele, okay, knife and fork, and like looks at my drowning. Pele sets them down. So, tell me, where are you from? We've been working together for some time now. I mean, where are you from?
Small area
Hmm.
to the north.
Mm.
Guess you could call it very central, very middle.
Oh,
Its name is, well, we called it the valley, though it wasn't really a valley, but it felt like it sometimes.
Can't say I visited, but sounds nice.
It's because there were so many fields that would roll across over on hills, and these hills would be tall. The grain would almost be as tall as your head, taller
Yes.
even.
Oh, okay. I see.
Valleys of grain.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is why you called it the valley, I assume.
Valleys of grain, yes.
Valleys of grain.
Golden and resplendent, and the smell was wonderful. Well, before the factories came in.
How rural. Sounds lovely.
Provincial, one might call it.
Sorry, can you pass the hot sauce?
I don't think you need more sauce, Jasper. Goes ahead and passes the hot sauce and goes, it was very beautiful, very connected.
Mm.
We were all lovely and in love with the area. I haven't been in quite some time, but I would like to see it one day.
Perhaps we'll pass it on the road on our travels.
For your sake, let's hope we don't, but maybe we will.
Fabulous. If there's nothing else in the journey phase, I think we shall proceed apace back to the investigation phase briefly before we wrap our session. You have arrived in Weft. Probably a wise move to let the Hungering Roots assignment simmer for a little bit. You did commit a murder and cause massive power outage and other chaos, but you managed to learn some things, and so we can revisit it soon enough. For now, Weft. The town of Weft has a main street full of potholes and weeds, storefronts with cracked windows and faded signs. There are abandoned cars with flat tires. You see a rusty bike chained to a tilting signpost. Distant sounds of a sputtering generator, hammering, and a lone barking dog. Let's paint the scene, everyone. By all appearances, this town is dying out. How can you tell that some residents still care for it fiercely?
There's a burn pile going on in the center of town of like weeds, tumbleweeds, things, bits of detritus that come into town and grow and take root. They regularly tear down and make a central burn pile, both as a means of disposal, but also a desperate hope that perhaps this will be counted as a sacrifice to someone to ensure the continued survival of Weft.
All the buildings that are boarded up, their doors and their windows, the boards have been painted bright and happy colors to make it seem a little less horrifying and dire.
There is an old man who should probably be better fit sitting on a rocking chair on a porch, but he is busy moving around the town and hammering notices for town meetings every week.
You know, if it's all right with everyone, I'd like to use Jasper's move, All the World's a Stage,
Okay.
here as we arrive in Weft, which, if we have the time for it, I'm happy to do it because I have an interesting idea. I have the power to alter reality by performing as if I were reading a script, and I deliver a theatrical monologue about and narrate what I hope is about to happen in the scene.
I love it.
Mhm.
We can
Or I
save
can
it
save it for next time.
Yeah,
totally,
yeah.
totally. I have a
I like it
a
though.
really
It's
cool
good.
Yeah, I have a cool idea.
Theo, why don't you go ahead and paint the scene then?
I think as we're sort of coming into town, I think there is like children playing like on the sidewalks and whatnot. It still seems lively for the amount of residents that still remain.
And we'll wrap today's session with a free conspiracy clue. You all have to get off the road quickly because coming through Weft are a number of large freight trucks bearing odd-shaped cargo concealed by black tarps. They drive through, cut through to get back to the highway, and then are gone. That will conclude our session for the day. I do want to check in with Jasper and Pele and the clearing of conditions from the journey scene, which
Yeah, I
we
was thinking about clearing marked by
did not
pickles.
do. Yeah, you can clear marked by pickles. I think that's fine.
Since we are away, do you think I could
You can,
clear?
yeah. You're in this like meat palace.
Yeah. No harvest here, only
no
meat.
harvest, no plant stuff going on here at all.
Oh, that gives me vibes of like Preacher.
Oh,
Kill
yeah.
Cannon.
God
Kill
of
Cannon,
meat,
The God
yeah.
of meat.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Fabulous. Let's go ahead and go to end of session. And I need to pull up the structure because I don't remember how it goes. Give me 1 minute. I'm sure it's not that complicated, but I want to make sure I hit everything correctly. End of session. We would collect rewards if an assignment was resolved, but it is not yet. So instead, we'll go straight to end of session questions. Also, we're going to have to do verse prompts as well. So be thinking about those if you haven't been. But let's go ahead and do end of session questions really quickly. No one's getting the first one, which is did the custodians complete an assignment? So instead, we'll go to Theo. Did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Yes, you did. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community?
I'm not sure. I really dealt with plants this session.
Yeah, fair enough. Were you vulnerable with someone? I would say yes.
Mhm.
With taking the burns from
Okay.
from Sedna. Sedna, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Oh, yes, you did. Did you struggle with your personal faith? I would say so.
Yeah.
Because of the whole like electric gods, thing. Like you were kind of being, the Saint Electric was almost like ignoring you for a bit. Were you vulnerable with someone? Yes, you were, for the same reason. Jasper Finch, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Oh, you certainly did. Did you deliver a monologue about any of the following? You delivered many monologues, so I'm going to say yes. And then, did you struggle with your personal faith?
I did.
Yeah, I think you did. There at the end, especially.
At the diner, yeah.
Yeah. Pele, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Yes, you did. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community?
I think I did, and then I connected the local community back with the
quite
god.
literally connected with the local community. Yeah. Were you vulnerable with someone?
Yeah. I shared a little bit
about the town. Yeah.
About the town. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so XPs are on the table. Love that. I don't think we have any moves that we have to resolve, but I do think we have some verses to resolve. We're getting a little close on our scheduled time, so we can save that for the beginning of next session if everyone needs to, or we can do it right now. I'll leave it up to you.
Just because the verse of the inevitable harvest doesn't get highlighted when it's not done, I'm going to do mine now.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not a complex dream. None of Theo's dreams were particularly memorable. Just feelings and experiences. Just laying down in sort of a field, grass, seeing it rise all above him. And it's a nice sunny day. Clouds above and various shapes of little animals, cows, pigs, ducks. And I think we see Theo basically wearing a t-shirt and some shorts, and he looks perfectly all right. Nothing wrong with him.
I can do my harvest
Mhm.
history 1, 2. If you're done, chaotic. Okay. For the same reason, because it doesn't show up. If I don't want to forget that I'm going to do it. I think this is going to happen when Sedna is still sitting at the counter in the diner. She's finished her coffee now. The server comes back to pour another cup, and Sedna doesn't really react. The server says, "Well, where are you at, honey? You look like you're way off in dreamland." And Sedna, in her mind, thinks, "Well, child, dreams are for fools, and hopes are just deceptive promises from, treacherous gods. In this world, we're all just pawns, and we're at the mercy of these deities who will offer everything and then deliver nothing. We can't dream. You can't dream of escaping the clutches of the gods that are surrounding us. We can't break free of this. I've learned the hard way that they just dangle their hopes right in front of your face, and then they pretend to be benevolent, and then their true nature is just manipulative. I've lived that life of abundance. I've been there. All my wants and my needs were catered to me. But the gods, they just revel in suffering, and they relish our pain, and well, now here I am, custodian. I'm stuck with this burden. But I suppose it means I can destroy as many gods as I can. Legal or illegal, all gods are the same. None of them can be trusted. I look back up to the server who's waiting for my response. Nothing. I'm not thinking about anything.
Nice. Jasper and Pele, do you want to do your dreams of abundance? Or do you want to wait?
I'll wait till next time.
Pele's is very simple.
Go ahead.
It's outside the diner waiting for other people to finish, sitting in the sidecar, adding the teeth that has been collected to the altar, to the large mouth. And there's just a flash, just like a thought of, like, instead of placing teeth into this candy marshmallowed mouth, just plants that need pruning and just trimming. And then a little bit of squirts of water and taking care of and everything. And then just sitting down in a chair. And like this room, that's just like an overabundance of just like growth and everything. And it's just calming. And there's just music playing and just rocking back and forth. And then you just last see Pele just taking a deep breath and look up at the sky. And then go back to adding the teeth to the altar.
Nice. So some of you still owe or have to write verses for next time, but otherwise I think we're good to go. We have wrapped our session. Let's go ahead and do quick stars and wishes. Anybody have any stars they want to share? I'll actually start. I really, I loved the way when you basically said no to Taj in the van. It was so good. So I feel like I learned everything. Like I was learning a lot about Sedna already, but like I learned like everything I was like really looking for in that moment. I was like, okay, I got it. I've got Sedna's deal now. Yeah. So that was great. These characters are a delight. They're just so good and so fun. The way you're all playing them, you're capturing the satire elements really well, but there's still something kind of fundamentally like terrifying about all of this, which I think is really great. And Pele, the way you handled that guy in the altar, in the subterranean altar, was really, really cool. The character is so weird and creepy, but compelling. and Jasper is a delight, an insufferable delight, but a delight nonetheless. And I feel like I learned much more this time about both Theo and Sedna. So the group really feels like it really like is getting very clear in my mind, like who these people are, what this group is, and their dynamic is really interesting, right? So it's very, very fascinating. Great session. Just really, really pleased.
Yeah, I'll throw out some. Oh,
Go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead.
Stars to Wes. Hey, Wes. That fucking smile you're doing is creepy as shit. And I know you know exactly. Yeah, that face right there you do as Pele at the camera is the creepiest fucking thing. It wigs me out and I love it. So star to that. No, star to Pele's whole deal because fucking shoving his spoon in the dude's throat was awesome. That monologue about the valley was very cool. Yeah, Sedna's whole deal with Taj was great. I'll echo that. I particularly enjoyed her little moment, the verse you just did there, but just kind of like the little moment off to the side near the pit scanning the radio. I agree with Jason. I'm getting a very cool idea of like a clear idea of what Senna is like as a character. Yeah, I mean Theo, it's really cool to see the Poxmodder stuff actually like coming into play now with the conditions. So like I really enjoyed that little scene between you two. And overall just everyone's little contributions to not just paint the scene questions, but those journey prompts are really fun because I love the journey scene. Especially
the restaurant was great.
Restaurant's great.
Loved Big Boy's Bottomless Barbecue. So I want to go eat there. Like I do want to eat there.
I do. I feel that. Yeah, I'm craving barbecue now. And yeah, Jason, I mean, star to all the stuff with pickles because that was a nice little chip on Jasper's shoulder with the reviews. But honestly, I just liked the overall kind of like I loved our little scene between Haven and Jasper as Laurencio Schneider. That was just it was just a lot of fun bullshit rambling, and that was great. Wishes. Now I'm just excited I know exactly what move I'm picking for my next one. And actually Wes set it up perfectly with that scene just now. So I'm excited to bust that out because it was my favorite move to do as Jasper during our playtest. And it's why I'm keeping a record of a ton of different NPC names so I can pull them out of a hat where needed. So yeah.
I have a wish. I'm really excited to see all the worlds a stage too. Like you set up the possibility, and so I'm really curious to see where that's going to go. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I want to echo with fucking Taj, the no. I love it in roleplay and improv where it's a very simple, just it had moments of Brennan Lee Mulligan and Zach Oyama doing their make some noise where it's like Brennan Lee Mulligan going on this like my client and all this stuff like that, and then Zach just being like, yeah, I did it, I killed the guy. But it's like it's completely different, but it's the same thing of just like very simple, effective, and just
it was the timing of it. Right?
It's good, great timing.
And a no in improv that is well timed is the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah. Like if it's a good no, because like they always say yes and, but no, a good no can like speak volumes and is fantastic. Theo, I just want to get like chaotic like props to like Theo as a character and like playing like this character that you are going to be juggling conditions like a motherfucker during this entire game, and you're going to be resource managing the fuck out of this game. Like this, you are playing the resource management like playbook, which is fantastic. But also your paint the scenes and like your prompt answers for the journey phase were really fucking good today. Like they were on point, and it's you have a really good. You're always on top of it with paint the scenes and everything. It's really good. Jasper, the fucking Alex pulling the writer out of, and just like the whole journalist angle and everything like that of you just being like because it was like at that first start of like, give me a newspaper that's in the world, and it's like, just make one up, and you just made one up, and then immediately made everything up about it just at that point, and just went with it and killed it. And like working with you and Jason working off of each other was so fantastic. That was like, and also Jason, yeah, Pickles A+. Can't wait to see more of Pickles. I hope we get to pick up if there's a follower, if the follower move gets taken, if Jasper doesn't take Pickles as a follower. Not even as a follower, but I just want to see, I want to see Pickles more. But yeah, that's just where I'm at. This is so creepy. It's terrifying. It's hitting all of like the folk horror vibes, the like American like Americana Dust Bowl kind
Yeah,
of stuff that we're getting into.
It's very like Americana, a satire of America,
a satire,
which is so
like
good.
yeah,
yeah.
which is a lot of the content I've been taking in lately is very much like let's point a satire at America or Americana or American exceptionalism, and like it's very it's so great. I can't wait for more people to play this game. This is awesome. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's a lot of mine. A lot of my notes were already spoken about, but the whole conversation between Jasper and Haven was hilarious. It was so funny, and I didn't really know who I hated more, which is saying something. I loved all of the journey stuff. The building of the restaurant I thought was really great. I never want to go to this restaurant. It will haunt my dreams. It's terrifying, and I was having flashbacks to our full cult bounty trophy game, which also included a lot of horrifying food stuff, and yeah, just wonderful. The fail situation between that Theo and Sedna had together, that was creepy. That was scary as hell, and it was one. I think it was like the first real big, like actual super scary, fail that we've had that's really in depth. So it's a really great way to start things off, and I am excited to see what's going to happen and eventually what's going to happen when somebody fails and runs with it.
I love when misses connect like that, like when they have like a connection, like you can kind of combine them. I think that's always really fun as a GM,
because it also adds a little bit of a player pressure. Like if I don't do something, the other
Yeah.
character is gonna suffer,
yeah.
even though that's not really what's gonna happen. The other
Yeah,
player can
yeah,
still save their
yeah,
character,
yeah.
but it does put that sort of
Mm.
faux pressure on you, which is great, extra tension. I loved the whole scene with Theo taking the burns from Sedna being a big baby and just being like, I'm hurting, take it away. I think we're gonna see a lot of that, but Theo is right on top of it and just like, oh, there, little baby, hold out your hands. And it was a really great character moment to see Theo doing that, to see Theo acting in that taking the conditions away fashion, because that's such a cool move, and you can have up to 5 conditions. That's bonkers. It's gonna be so fun. Pickles. I just have in my notes pickles. So love pickles. And then the next thing in my notes is fucking Pele. Yes, all of that. Just more. Yeah, more of that, please. As for wishes, I'm excited to see more of this world, more of the gods that we're going to experience, more of the gods that we're going to come up with, because that's part of the fun of this game. I do feel a little bad sometimes about leaning hard into the Americana stuff because I am not American. But you know what? We're neighbors. It's close
It's
enough.
fine.
It'll be fine. Nobody here is going to be offended.
Yeah. It's okay. I will say as a wish, another wish, it's a wish that I know will get fulfilled, but I'm still excited because I've gotten to see the Theo character more because Chaotic used him in the playtest, and so I know like some of the backstory that like fuels why Theo is the way Theo is, and so I'm just excited to see that come out, assuming it's the same.
Yeah.
In this campaign.
Some things may be different because I have a poor memory of things, and I probably need to watch that playtest again and probably make notes from it. But yeah, Theo is Theo's an interesting guy. I'll say that. I was looking forward to like maybe seeing like a scene between Sedna and Pele, but like the Pele Jasper conversation was very interesting as they both seem to get along really well for some reason, and I don't know why. And I have to give a star out for Jasper in particular for the quote of this session. The truth is most bitchin'.
There was a bunch of good quotes from Jasper today. That
Yeah.
was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Also Pele wrestling in the basement of like the facility and killing the guy before skedaddling. Also, it's very interesting that for one of my many failures this session, that Theo is going to get a disadvantage from a physical condition because of the psychological implications. Because
Well, no, because it's prayer marks on your arm. That's why.
Well, it's like there's multiple ways to like go about it besides like prayer marks. The idea of like taking this away from Sedna, just having marks from another god on his body and being very anxious about that. There's a whole lot of ways to get disadvantage from that. This is going to be a spiral condition, I can tell right now.
Oh, I have a hate star for rashers of bacon. Like they just made me want to punch Jasper Simon.
I will seize any opportunity to just say rashers of bacon.
Yeah, that was great. Okay, anything else before we go?
Wishes. I am looking forward to getting to meet the family and Dusk
Oh, the
Mother.
skeletons, yeah. The skeletons are fun. I love the skeletons.
Oh,
They're great.
yeah.
Okay. In that case, let's go ahead and wave goodbye to folks watching the video. Goodbye, folks watching the video.